All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the third official Andromo Developer Hangout. As you can see by my lower third there, I am Mark Russ. I'm a developer for Andromo. I spend most of my time, as you probably know, doing client work. I've done a little bit more website work in the last little bit, but largely I'm mostly a client guy responsible for the things that frustrate you about Andromo. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the third official. I can hear myself somewhere. Developer Hangout. I gotta close that. Oh, sorry about that. I had the Hangout open in another window, and I got myself hit by a delay. So now I'll let you, Lalaberty, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Lauren Lalaberty. I'm also a developer here at Andromo. Also responsible for a lot of the client things that you guys have enjoyed or been frustrated with. Focused primarily on audio. Among us here, the audio has kind of been my baby. So any of the audio issues, you know, I'm to blame or to thank, however that goes. So.
All right, I'm just gonna configure a few things here.
Glad to see Mike rode his bike today. It's a beautiful day for a bike ride.
Yeah, it's a high of 21 degrees Celsius today. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit for anybody that does Fahrenheit stuff. But that's warm and it lets me wear shorts finally.
Oh, you have to take another picture of the back alley vine there.
Yeah.
It's all the ice gone, I think, eh?
It'll be totally different soon. Okay, I'll select our first question. So when does this Hangout start? Now. That's when it starts.
Oh, I wanted to answer that one.
Let me finish this up. Doodle-doo-doo-doo. I apologize for this poorly planned beginning. It's always hard setting all this sort of stuff. There we go. This is what I want. Live TV. All right. That's good. That's done. Now back to us. Okay, so should we take a look at? We have no questions in the live Q&A right now, but we have 9 questions over here in the moderator zone. What I'm gonna do? I have something I'd like to try. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm trying something new. I invited some of the people that responded yes to the Hangout to participate and even come on air if they'd like. I added them to one of our circles because you have to invite people. You can't invite the public to participate. You have to invite people one by one to be on air. So I thought this time I would try to see if we could get some of the people that have responded yes to maybe come on air and ask us a question in video or audio. We'll see what they respond or whether or not they respond. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to read out the first question from the moderator thing there, Lorne, and then we can tackle it together. So the first question is from Free App Zone in Singapore. And the question is there any plan to add a Pinterest or Instagram or any other special activities? Thank you. And I'll take the first crack at that one, and I would say yes. We've looked at Pinstagram. We've looked at Pinterest. There you go.
Let's do it all in one activity.
Yeah, it's called the Pinstagram. It's actually a new social network. But no, we've looked at both Pinterest and Instagram in the past. And right now, you can actually use Instagram hashtags as an RSS feed, or with just a normal RSS feed, or an RSS photo feed. I use that in some of my apps, and it works quite well. But if we really want to make use of it, it would be something that we would do with their API, and you need an API key, and I think you have to apply for that. So that's really what's been holding that type of access back. But I do think that both Pinterest and Instagram are good candidates for a new activity. And your other question is, are any other special activities? And I think, yeah, I think we do plan on adding more activities in the future. Anything you'd like to add, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, one kind of general comment with that is that we're still in the process of deciding what kinds of activities we want to focus on next. It's actually, we were talking about this yesterday. It has been quite a while since we added another pure activity to Andromo. We've been focused on, you know, adding other options for monetization for the past good while, and adding. We've added a whole bunch of new abilities to Andromo in the form of different settings that
Yeah, new
almost
features, new
change.
activities to
Yeah, like
change
almost
what an activity
change.
does.
Yeah, change the existing activities into almost new forms of activities. But um, I think we'd really like to do something that lets you do something that you really can't do now. And there's a bunch of different possibilities for that, and we're still kind of in the process of narrowing down which type of different special activity we'd like to do. Um, but yeah, it's very much something that we're thinking a lot about right now.
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the next question is: anything very useful or interesting coming soon to Andromo? Possibly version 4.1. And that's from JStar 269. I believe that's the J. I hope that's the JStar that's done the Oculus, some of the Oculus Rift stuff, and made some comments on Twitter and stuff like that. If so, hello. Um, uh, yeah, I mean we don't usually provide a public roadmap for what we're going to do. And for us, whenever we release a new update, we always hope that it's useful and interesting. So again, my answer to that would be yes. No specific hints as to what we're going to do, but like Lauren was talking about just a second ago, new activities is something that we're looking at. Always bug fixes and things like that. Internationalization is one of the things that is a focus of right now, and we're working at getting the client app translated so that a lot of the built-in strings will appear in the language that the user has their phone set to, phone or tablet.
Yeah,
So
those strings are almost all fully translated already. Like we'll probably get them in the next few days, so that should be coming pretty soon.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's as much as I said we're not into giving a public roadmap.
Well,
That's
yeah,
one
but I
of
mean, that's in the very end process of finishing up.
Yeah, so
We've
that'll be a big benefit to I think people that are wanting to target different regions or are from a different region and want to target the region that they live in. So if you're using, if you're creating a German app for Germans that uses German content, your whole app will be in German, and you won't have some of our messages and things like that in English, sort of throwing your users off. So I think that'll be useful and interesting.
Yeah, actually, Mark gave a presentation at a local Android meetup last night that dealt with the importance of internationalization and the rapid growth of Android in other markets, and how
Yeah.
they're really dwarfing the West
Yeah,
already and will soon be even more
Yeah, I mean,
dramatically.
the one big stat that I always like is that China's the largest smartphone market in the world. It overtook the U.S. in 2013, I believe, and it's just projected to continue growing. Or continue being the largest and increase its lead, even though its actual rate of growth is going to slow to 30%. But in 2013 as well, or in 2013, the U.S. was the second largest market in the world, but in 2014, India is expected to overtake the U.S. as the second largest smartphone market in the world. So I think there's lots of interesting things happening around the world. And actually, the Android meetup that we went to last night, where I gave my little talk, they're going to post the video online in the future. So I'll put a link to that somewhere on the blog or something like that. So if you guys, any of the Andromo people are interested, they can check that out as well. Okay, so do you want to handle the next question, Lauren?
Which one is it? I don't know if we see them in the same order actually.
Okay, you know what? Then I'll read the
Yeah.
question out, and then we can just sort of decide who wants to handle them after that. And again, if anybody's watching them, please join the actual Hangout. You don't have to say anything or speak or anything like that, but you can ask questions using the Q&A, whatever you want to call it, app that it works with, and that sort of makes it easier for us to answer questions sort of in real time than the moderator page. The moderator page is great for asking in advance, but actually if you want to ask us something or comment on something that we've said during the Hangout, the Q&A section is the best. So this is from Tamworth Heat, and from the forums, and the question is a 5-part question.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll read the whole thing, and then we can sort of break it apart later. One, what should priorities be for marketing apps? Almost zero budget. 2, are videos essential on Google Play page? 3, how important are long descriptions with keywords? 4, how to get exposure for apps? 5, anything pipeline for refreshed dashboard options? So I'll tackle the first part there, and Lauren, feel free to jump in anytime or anything like that. So what should priorities be for marketing apps with almost zero budget? That's a tough one. Marketing apps is hard. There's a lot of competition. One of the things that I mentioned in my talk yesterday is that there's 1.2 million apps in Google Play. So there's a lot of competition out there. In my opinion, there's some really basic things I think you should do if you really want to market your app. I think you should create a Twitter account for your app, a Facebook page for your app, a Google Plus page for your app, and direct people to that. Share your content there, promote your app there, and stuff like that. That's not necessarily going to make you stand out from the crowd, because that's kind of, in my opinion, if you're going to promote something, that's the first thing you would do, right? Create a website for your app. Create a blog for your app. These are sorts of good ways to get some promotion, but they're pretty basic. Another good thing to do would be if you have an app that's really popular and you want to promote something else, you can link to the app you want to promote from your popular app. You could use house ads in your other apps to promote your app. You can advertise other places. You could advertise on Facebook or an ad mob or different things like that. I mean, that's not really for zero budget, but with the house ads, that is zero budget. Just things like that. I mean, I don't have any secrets in terms of marketing, but I think those are the basic ways to go.
Yeah, I mean, it probably depends a little bit on what the subject matter of the app
Good
is
point.
too. But if possible, there might be like a forum or a news group or a website that deals with that subject, or where people that are interested in that subject might hang out, and becoming involved in that community could also be beneficial. Going there and asking for suggestions for the app. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of sort of semi-guerrilla things that you could do.
I've actually had some success in the past using Reddit for that.
Oh.
There's a couple things that they have on Reddit that you could try to make use of, and obviously there are subreddits on Reddit. And if there's a subreddit that's dedicated to the content that's in your app, lots of times it's okay to post a link to your app on that subreddit, as long as you explain that you're the creator and things like that. Because lots of times those people are just fans of the content. So if you go there and say, I'm like, with the idea that I'm a fan, here's something I created because I like this content, lots of times they'll respond favorably to that. And the other thing is, on Reddit they have a Saturday, it could be Sunday now, they've changed it a few times. It's called, it's in the Android subreddit, but it's called the Appreciation thread, and it's basically a place where people can talk about apps that they like. And if you're a developer, you can also post your own app there, saying that you made this app and things like that. As long as you clearly mark that you are the developer of the app, that's an acceptable thing. I've had some success promoting my apps using that as well. It doesn't seem to work. It seems as though it's the same people using that thread every week. So if you want to hit it multiple times with the same app week after week, you'll see decreasing returns on that. You'd want to do that, once a month maybe, or use different apps or something like that, or maybe just once the first time you release an app. But that's something that I haven't mentioned before. Okay, are videos essential on Google Play pages? I don't think they are essential. I think they're great, though. If you could take the time to make a good video, I think it's worth it. Now, that being said, I don't have videos on all of my apps as well, but for the ones that I really want to make more popular or attract more users, I do put videos up for them. I think I watch videos on Google Play sometimes if I want to see what the app looks like and what it does. So I think if you're proud of your app and you think it looks good, I think a video is a good thing to do. How important are, do you have anything to say on that front, Lauren?
No, not really. I mean, it would actually, it's another opportunity to kind of differentiate your app too. I mean, you could personalize it a little bit, like something that I haven't seen that much of. Like mostly people just do a little video demonstrating the app, which is kind of cool. But there's an opportunity there for you to say something kind of funny, for you to demonstrate the app in an interesting way. Write a song about the app and sing it. Write a poem, an ode to your app.
Well, that's actually a good point, because the video is going to be on Google Play, or not Google Play. It's going to be on Google Play again, and YouTube as well. So that video won't just be promoting your app within your Google Play page. It'll be within YouTube and searchable there and stuff like that. So there's ways that you can get people to learn more about your app that way. So I think that's a very good point, Lauren, to make it sort of different and sort of viral and stand out and stuff. And that's a good idea, because I don't do that, but that would make some sense as well. Good point. You seem to you've veered off to the left a little bit. There you are.
My webcam's like sliding around on the monitor there.
So, part 3 is how important are long descriptions with keywords? I'm not sure about that. I think you have to be careful nowadays in terms of keyword stuffing, which is adding lots of keywords because Google doesn't like that anymore. You have to be careful with using copyright material in your descriptions as well, because Google doesn't like that anymore. I think you should pay attention for the first couple lines of your description, or pay attention to the first couple lines of your description, because that's what most people on a phone are going to see. They won't see all of your description unless they press show more. So make that first line or first 2 lines very catchy, so that they want to actually learn more. Make sure it's spelled properly and things like that, which I'm bad at, but you should do that.
Probably the most important thing too is just to make sure that, I mean, you don't want to do any keyword stuffing. I mean, it's not going to work anyway. If anything, if you do any of those kind of things to try to outsmart the search algorithms and stuff like that, or just to try to, hey, this is something that's popular, and you just stick all these terms in there, you're just either there's 2 things that are probably going to happen. The people that find it are going to think that's really lame and are going to think that your apps are lame as a result. And possibly like Google will detect that and just your app no longer appears as well in the results.
Yep.
I mean, think about the amount of resources that Google has to adjust their algorithm. So it's not really worth trying to do any kind of little tricks and techniques. But that being said, you really need to make sure that your app description contains at least the most common thing that people would search for if they were looking for your kind of app. Like if like if you made a tower defense game, you should say the word tower defense in there, even if your title is something completely unrelated. So I mean, if you're making an app about cycling, have the word cycling in there, have the word bike in there, just in the normal description, the normal way that you would
Yeah.
describe your app, just make sure that it actually, um, says something that people would search for.
And
But
be
don't try
honest.
to just be honest, like really honestly describe the app.
Don't like, because that's one of the things that'll hurt your app in the long run, is if you promise something that you're not delivering. If you tell people what to expect within your app, if you have good screenshots that show your app and what it is, people will know what your app does, and when they do download it, they'll be happy and they might give you a good rating. But if you try to trick them with sort of, or misrepresent the way your app works with your screenshots, you might get more downloads and might get you a few extra some extra ad views and stuff like that. But those people won't be happy because you'll have tricked them. And so they might leave you a bad rating or leave a bad comment, and in the long run, that's going to hurt you. So your apps have a long tail, and you want to keep that as healthy as possible. So how to get exposure for apps is the next part of your question, and I think we sort of covered that with some of the previous things we talked about: Reddit's, forums, Twitter, Facebook, and stuff like that. Google Plus is actually a really good place that you should promote your stuff on. Mostly because Google uses Google Plus for Google searches. So anything you can do to get a bonus in that is good. And it also does a really good job when you share something to Google Plus, like a Google Play link and things like that. It does a very good job sort of presenting that to people. So I would recommend that. I like that social network myself for Android stuff. I know it's not the most popular, but I think it's a good one for that sort of stuff.
It's good for beer nerds.
Yes, it is good. I do a lot of beer nerding on there.
A lot of Android and a lot of beer happens on Google Plus. One other tip I'd suggest is just a good way to get exposure would be to find someone who's like an expert or someone who has a lot of influence. I mean, it's just another general guerrilla marketing technique. Is you find someone who is like an influencer in your topic, and if you can get them to say something about your app or endorse your app or even just mention it, that can be worth a lot. Because I mean, you may not have a lot of people following you, but if you can get someone who has a lot of people that are interested in what your app deals with and get them to say it, so like if it's a Formula One racing app, track down like the guy who's number 2 in the rankings or something, and get him to say the app is going to help him win his races or something.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the other thing too is we do have that. We do have a community on our Google Plus page for people to post their apps. So you can post it there. It's not the most hopping community in the world, but there's no harm in sharing it there. And there's the idea that we'll review some of those apps eventually. So that's something we might do. Oh, and that's another thing too. There are sites out there that will review apps. Some of them request money. I wouldn't recommend that, but you can always just submit your app to those sorts of sites as well. Okay, number 5. Anything in the pipeline for refreshed dashboard options? Not specifically. I mean, one thing that I've been thinking about lately as a simple sort of update would be to add the card interface to the list style dashboard. So it's not a big change, but it would be a relatively straightforward change for us to do. So that's something I'd like to do. There's always, of course, subcategories, which is a much discussed feature. Nothing really to say about that at the moment, but
no, we were talking a little bit about the implementation of that the other day. So there's baby steps happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we take seriously. If it was something we could implement and have make sense on the website, make sense for the developer, make sense for the user in a minute, we would do it, right? But there's implementation, there's usage, and there's development sort of issues that surround that. Okay, next question is from Pixel Power, and the question is, will Andromo add more activities or just improve the ones we have? I would say both. We definitely want to add some more activities, and we will continue to improve the activities that we have. That's my response. I like improving some of the. I know it's easy to want new activities and new ways to use content and things like that. But it's also good to improve at the old activities. I think something like the card interface or the photo feed for the RSS really does a lot to sort of expand what you can actually do with those types of activities. So I'd like us to focus on both, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we would like to fix or update or add or change to the existing activities. And I think sometimes, I mean, that can almost even get in the way of the, the building up enough inertia to kind of like, work on, focus on a single brand new activity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like we mentioned earlier, we're aware it's been a while since we've added something completely brand new in terms of a whole other activity for a whole new type of thing, and so that is very forward on our minds right now.
Yep. Okay. Next question or suggestion is from Tamworth Heath again, and he says he or she. I think it's a he, but I don't want to always just default to that. Idea for activity: a page that displays a list like how the card-style RSS feed looks. Devs could upload image, description, and tagline that could be hyperlinked. This could be used for things like headlines, product placement, news, and reviews. And I think this is something that you mentioned, or not mentioned, but you highlighted before we jumped on here as being a good idea. And I think so as well. What I like about this, and this might be what you like about it as well, Lauren, is the idea that this lets a developer create something. This lets the Andromo developer
Mm-hmm.
build something. And it would be neat as well is if what they could. I mean, this could even be a dashboard type. Just thinking aloud here, but if they could use that, and if a user clicks on the actual list item, if they could use our Andromo protocol links to send you to an activity or something like that, I think that would be neat as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean
Uh,
that's one of the things that we're really been thinking a lot of lately is different ways of letting you use and present your own content in more, I don't know, like more. I mean, right now we already have like the HTML archive, we have the website activity. If you have a website, we've got the custom page, which sort of allows you to do that. But we'd like to kind of like take more advantage of the features of Android
mhm.
to let you do stuff that's um, cool. To actually kind of like I'm trying to remember the word, Mark. What was it? The design. Remember the design part of your presentation last night? It
I
started
do.
with an E. That awesome word that I can't remember. It's not to engage people. It's to. But Google's design suggestions about
Enchant,
enchant.
simplify,
Thank you. Yes, to enchant.
delight.
Make it more enchanting. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, I need more coffee. Um, but but yeah, like we'd like to try to make more ways for you to actually create apps that are based around the content that you've created. Partly because that's looks like something that Google is sort of like um, leaning towards or trending towards. It's just that they're really wanting people to make apps that basically is showing their own content versus someone else's.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've actually been sort of throwing around in my head too is the idea of letting people somehow figure out a way that we could let people control the way their apps look a little bit more. And I'm not actually sure. I mean, maybe people could comment either in the Q&A or on the forums or the blog or wherever, but letting Andromo developers control a little bit more about the way some of the app actually looks, having a bit more finite control of like a good example would be uh, RSS list items, because that's a simple XML file, and part of me likes the idea of letting them configure more of how that looks. Let's say how many lines of text are displayed, the height of the item, the size of the image, or something like that, or even upload the actual XML file themselves. And if this If you watch this and that interests you, let us know, because if you let us know that a feature is good and a feature is something that you want, that gives us a little bit more ammunition to go forward with it. But I kind of like sort of in line with what you were saying, Laurel, giving people a little bit more. And I know this is something that you've wanted for a while, but giving people a little bit more control of the process and a little bit more creative control of the apps themselves. So I think that's something that we haven't done as much of in the past, and maybe it's time that we did that for some of the more advanced users. All right, but I do think that is a good idea for an activity, though, Tamworth Heat. I think it's a neat idea, a neat way to be able to create something that then links to something else and gives you a nice visual look. I mean, you can imagine it being something like adding like the way you add audio tracks or something like that. You know, it would be basically the same thing. You know, images and text and stuff like that. And images, title text, description text, and link, and then that's it. You know, I think that's cool. I think it's a good idea. Another question from Yemi. What new activities are going to come in the future? I think we basically covered that with some of the things that we've talked about. I mean, we just talked about another activity that might come. So I think we can skip that one. Here's another question from Free App Zone. And the question is, can Andromo team add visual Android phone to view whether the RSS feeds or any URL is working, looking to give a better version than download into the phone and doing the necessary adjustment? Any hope? Can add Instagram, Pinterest, and more. So the Instagram and Pinterest stuff we've covered, but what I think you're asking there is basically whether or not we can add a preview, because it's easier to see if an RSS feed is working in a live preview than having to build it and download it and test and something like that. Do you want to take this one, Lauren?
Well, I mean, basically, because of the way Andromo actually compiles a native app, native activities to show to implement the RSS activity, it wouldn't actually be possible to do a preview, or it would be very, very difficult to the point of being infeasible. But I mean, if you're just trying to see the content of an RSS feed, or to see if it actually shows an RSS feed, I mean, the easiest thing to do is just open another browser window and paste your RSS feed in there. Most of the browsers will interpret the RSS feed and see it. There's tools online like RSS Feed Validator, which we link from in our project settings, that will check the feed for you and tell you if it's a valid feed. So I mean, in terms of just trying to see if the feed is good, I mean there's existing tools that will take care of that. As far as doing a preview is something we've thought of in terms of just showing for the style, like for colors and for helping you choose. Here's just some example text, and here's what it would look like on the colors you've chosen for the styles. But that's that's one of those things that is a lot easier to think of than to actually implement, it seems. So the likelihood of us adding a preview, I think, is pretty small at this point.
Well, it just wouldn't work
something that.
Well, yeah, I mean, audio and stuff like that. YouTube. Yeah. Well, I mean, YouTube, I guess we could do something, but some of them it just wouldn't really. Since we don't do HTML5, like a lot of the app makers out there that have previews and stuff like that are just they're just HTML5 apps, not just, but they are HTML5 apps, and that's what they're showing. So that's why they can do the preview, because that's the actual app or close to that you're actually going to be using on the phone. And since, like as Lauren said, since we concentrate on native because we think it's better, it's harder for us to do a preview. Oh, looks like we just got a question here from one Colin Adams. I'll answer it. Are you guys wearing pants? Yes.
No comment.
Although you would know, maybe not. No, we are wearing pants. We're definitely wearing pants. So I sort of jumped on that one. I don't know. Did you have anything else to say about that, Lawrence? Or
About wearing pants.
yeah, Lawrence,
Leave that to the imagination.
what do you think? So more of a.
Mark's wearing polka dot pants actually today. They're bright neon dots for safety on the bike. Yeah, quite styling with his Velociraptor shirt.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but it's holding a beer. Next hangout, we should have beer on. That's my plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll have a
Get brewing, man. Get brewing.
After dark. Andromo developers after dark. That's what we'll do.
I like anything that results in Mark brewing beer. He's a really good brewer.
Yeah, we should have an official one. I'll bring a smoking jacket. I don't know why. So this is from Pixel Power. He says, more of a statement. Can you let users know of the new tutorials and features found in HTML like Facebook and Twitter share mainly? Sure. We could try to tweet out a link to your post on the forums or something like that. I mean, we're letting people know right now via this Hangout. So if you're interested in adding Twitter share or Facebook share to your HTML archive activity, Pixel Power made a short tutorial in the forums about how to do that. So go check that out if you're interested in it. There you go. Did that one. I'm just cycling through the questions right now. This is from Pixel Power. Again, it's just the order that some of these things are coming in for me right now. But if you guys have an Ouya device, can you test if HTML games run on it? And apps, of course. Angel Torreg Rosa says hi. Hi.
Torreg Rosa?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was terrible. So Lauren has an Ouya, which I think he mentioned in the last Hangout. And so I believe it was JStar on Twitter that said that he has an Ouya as well. I don't believe Lawrence tested an Andromo app on it, but maybe it's something we could do in the future. And if JStar, if you're around or if you watch this, maybe you'd want to write a blog post about what you've done on the Ouya or something like that, and send it to us. We can share the link with other developers and things like that. Again, I've seen a photo from JStar of his app working. So normal apps, I believe, do. I don't. What exactly would happen with the input, though?
For the Ouya?
If you're doing an HTML archive game, I mean, it's touch-based input, right?
There's a touch input, and there's also like a D-pad and all that kind of stuff. It's usually, I don't know actually if they even take advantage of any of the accessibility stuff. But there is a touch, like a small touchpad on their controller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're able to do sort of a little bit of touch stuff. It's not the best. It's mainly set up for a D-pad game input type stuff.
Yeah. So that'd be something you'd have to, like an API, you'd have to take it, or an input you'd have to take advantage of in some way. When you actually coded the Android part of the app.
I mean, it does, like for things like lists and stuff. If it's a native list, you can use a D-pad to cycle through to adjust the focus and stuff. So like So I mean, it's it's like you might expect trying to do something on the TV, but yeah, I don't end up using my Ouya very much anymore. I found it's I don't think they really succeeded in what they were trying to do. They did a bunch of stuff that wasn't the friendliest to indie developers, and Bloom fell off the rose for me. But
all right, excuse me. We have a question in the Q&A from Angel here. I'll answer it, or I'll select it. And the question is, We're a dashboard with scrollable buttons or activities, and then we can group activities by terms,
Themes,
I
I'm
think.
thinking.
What's
Or
that?
themes. Might be themes or
Themes. Oh yeah,
terms.
yeah.
Yeah.
Themes is a good one. And that would just be, I'm assuming the idea of the categorized or subcategories. I would assume, or do you think that's an ordering question?
It's hard to say. It's either yeah, it could be like having like the subheading type list sort of thing, or like having different ways of sorting the
Oh, I
content.
like you could see
It may also be like the whole custom dashboard
categories
idea,
in the
where
actual
you can,
list.
yeah, or it
Oh
might
yeah.
also, you might also, I mean, because that's another thing that we've thought of adding in the past. There's also the idea of like just being able to lay out buttons on the dashboard, like being able to do like a custom interface that the buttons go to your activities, like the custom dashboard that we had
Yeah.
at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and or it could just be subcategories where you have like a tree of activities.
Yeah. I mean the categories. Yeah, he says categories.
Ah.
So yeah, subcategories. We've talked about we've talked about on Hangout basically. It's something we know people want.
And almost every meeting too.
Yes, yeah, like we definitely
I've
know.
been pushing for the subcategories, I think, since we
Yeah,
started Andromo.
it's something we're aware of. It's something that we'd like to tackle. It's something that's difficult. Um, so if you can go back and hear what we said about subcategories earlier, um, and yeah, that's it. So, but thanks for the question though. So anyone else want to jump into the live Q&A, please do so. We'll answer your questions. There's a question here. Can I be a reseller for you? Right now, we don't have any reseller things set up, I don't believe. But the best thing to do would be to just contact support. Just go to support.andromo.com and submit your question there, and we'll respond. I think that's it. I don't think we have any more questions right now. Let me just refresh this. Okay. No, I think that's it at the moment. Just checking to see if anything else came into Google Plus. So if anybody has a question, we can keep going for a few more minutes. But if we don't get any questions, we'll cut it short this time, or not short, the appropriate time, I guess, 1 hour. So yeah, as always, ask question in the moderator page, or come into the Hangout and ask the built-in Q&A app. I'll just briefly check to see because somebody left a comment here. You got any thoughts about anything Andromo related, Lauren?
Any thoughts? Not too much. I mean, we've got a couple interstitial ad networks coming in the
Oh
nearish
yeah.
future. There's we're looking into Amazon interstitials right now.
Yeah, that's true. You were working on that yesterday.
Yeah, and and there's another interstitial ad network that we'll be adding once everything's kind of sorted out. We're just waiting for a few things back from them. So there's some more tiny little like changes in that nature coming. But yeah, like the I think one of the biggest things on our minds right now is just like we were saying earlier, is just trying to think of new ways of people being able to use their own content, different kinds of activities that would enable you to do something different with Andromo than you already can. So it's one of the reasons we haven't really dove into doing like Pinterest or Instagram, because partly you can already kind of do it, a photo feed. You can already, we don't necessarily want to rehash like here's another 4 ways of doing a photo feed type of thing. We're a little more interested in picking something that would um, let you do something that you actually couldn't even do at all before.
Yeah.
You know, and we got a whole bunch of ideas for them, but it's one of those things where each of them would take a significant amount of time, and you want to pick something that's actually going to be good for a lot of different people. So, any of the comments that you guys have, any suggestions, any feedback on the completely off the wall kinds of things that you would like to see done, like like a chat room, or like, and we've had people ask for quizzes before, and there's all these different kinds of things that are all possible, but if it's something that you really strongly feel would really help with your apps, and if you can explain why and give details, it's always really helpful to us to hear that, because as Mark said, it gives us ammunition to discuss it and talk about it and think like, okay, well, how this would be really good for this person. Would this be something that a lot of people would really benefit from?
Well, and one of the things, on that note, one of the things that I think would be cool, and I'm not a expert or anything like that, but one of the things that would be neat is if you feel really strongly about something, I mean, feel free to hop onto one of our Hangouts. I mean, I'd like to do these a little bit more regularly. But if you feel really strongly about something, you can hop onto one of these. You can join us. You can actually join the Hangout if you'd like to. I'm fine with that. And you can talk to us one-on-one, or you can ask a question via the Q&A or the moderate page, and you would have direct access to us that way for what you want. So yeah, so like I'd love to see more interaction back and forth from us, the developers, to you, the people using Andromo. I think that'd be better for everybody. I mean, I think what we want, I think we all want the same thing in general. Us as the people that make Andromo, we want more people using Andromo. The more people that use Andromo, the more revenue Andromo makes for us, the more time we can devote, and the more features we can put in, which will benefit you. So it's a win-win for all of us in that respect. Okay, we had another question here from Pixel Power, and Pixel Power says, as far as drop-down menus, there is a tutorial on doing that. Also, there is one with pages and sub-pages. Just let the users know. I guess that would be HTML archive stuff, I guess, in terms of pages and sub-pages. So yeah, or unless it's maybe using an HTML archive for a dashboard, I forget exactly what. But anyways, if you are looking to do anything like that, check out the forums. I'll bring up the forums right here. But we have tutorials and resources section, and a lot of people, mostly Pixel Power, have posted a lot of different tutorials with how to work with things like HTML archives and things like that, and how to do different things. So if you're looking to try to figure out something to do, the forums is a good resource for that type of material. Yeah, there you go. Little comment here from Angel. He says, I suggest a Pinterest activity. Yeah, I think Pinterest is a very popular social network. It seems like it's somewhat fading, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't hear as much about it as I used to. What would you like to see in the Pinterest activity? Would it be something that would just let people view images and things like that, or would it be something where you'd want people to be able to pin things or tag things? I mean, I guess it depends on what their API lets you do. Last time I checked, I don't know if their API was finished or fully public as well.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't remember it being finished the last time we looked. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that would be neat. I mean, I kind of doubt that they'd want to open up all of that sort of stuff to third-party apps, like letting people submit photos and pin photos and tag photos and stuff like that. just because they probably want you, just like Twitter, they want you using their app so that you can see their ads and they can get their analytics and stuff like that. But who knows? I mean, it's actually funny because we've had. I mean, I don't know if it's all. I don't think it's all the same people, but I think we've had three suggestions in terms of Pinterest. This Hangout. Yeah. So I think that's it. Lauren just sent me a note. He says he thinks we're done. I think we're done too. Let's call it a day. Thanks everybody for participating. Thanks everybody for asking a question in the moderator page ahead of time and during the Hangout. Hopefully we answered your question. I think we did. Yeah, just thanks. If you want to see more of things like this or more of anything, we're always willing to reach out to you, the developer, to try to help you out with making your apps. Just get information from you for how to make our service better. We're pretty open here. We try to be as transparent as we can. So anything you want to say to us, feel free. We're not hiding behind anything. So just feel free to contact us, forums, blogs, Twitters, whatever it happens to be. But thanks for participating. Do you have anything to say, Lorne?
No, I think you said it all. I think we're good. Thanks everybody for watching, and hope you enjoyed it. And keep the questions coming for next time.
I'm not saying anything just so that there's an awkward pause while the camera sits on Lauren.
Put your pants back on, Mark. Come on.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll end it on that note.